Power Apps Warehouse Automation, from paper to mobile in weeks. So, Power Apps Warehouse. It's something a lot of people ask about, and today we're going to walk through it step by step. Next up, what Power Apps can actually do for your warehouse. Most people who see a Power Apps Warehouse demo assume it only handles simple form collection. That assumption undersells it. A well-built Power Apps Warehouse app handles barcode scanning, goods receipt confirmation, pick and pack task assignment, bin-to-bin inventory transfers, and outbound shipment sign-off. Each of these replaces a paper form or a dedicated terminal login that workers otherwise share. Where Power Apps Warehouse apps get genuinely useful is the integration layer. Power Platform connectors link natively to SharePoint, Dataverse, SQL Server, Dynamics 365, and hundreds of other systems. If you run a basic WMS or a spreadsheet-based inventory system, a Power Apps Warehouse frontend can read from and write to that system without rebuilding anything underneath. The 5 Power Apps Warehouse apps we build most often for logistics SMBs. Now, next up, the real cost of paper-based warehouse processes. Before talking about build cost and timeline, it helps to be specific about what paper actually costs you. A warehouse team of 10 people, each spending 45 minutes daily on paper tasks, loses 75 person-hours per week to manual data entry, filing, and rekeying. At $20 per hour fully loaded, that is $1,500 per week or roughly $78,000 per year spent on work that adds no operational value. That number excludes the cost of errors. A miskeyed inventory count triggers unnecessary stock orders or leaves you short of items you actually needed. According to Gartner's warehouse management research, modernizing warehouse operations is a top priority for supply chain leaders, with paper-based processes cited as one of the most persistent barriers to productivity gains across mid-market operations. Now, moving on to how to build a warehouse app with Power Apps. A Power Apps warehouse app build follows a predictable sequence. Here is what each phase looks like in practice. Define the process you are replacing. Do not start with "we want an app." Start with "here is the exact paper form we use, here are the steps a worker takes, here is what happens to that data afterward." One process per app, at least to start. Choose your data source. Dataverse is the best option for new Power Apps warehouse builds. It handles table relationships, validation rules, and role-based permissions natively. SharePoint lists work for simpler apps. SQL Server is the right call for connecting to an existing system. Now, let's talk about Power Apps warehouse features that matter most. Not every Power Apps capability is equally useful on the warehouse floor. These are the ones that make a real difference. Barcode scanning. The camera control supports barcode and QR code scanning natively. Workers point the camera, the app reads the code, and relevant fields auto-populate. For higher volume scanning, a Bluetooth ring scanner paired with the device is faster and requires no code changes to the app. Photo capture. The same camera control enables photo capture. For inbound inspection apps, workers photograph damaged goods before logging a claim. Photos are stored in SharePoint or Dataverse, linked directly to the transaction record. Next up, moving on to offline mode for warehouse floor workers. Can Power Apps work offline for warehouse teams? Yes, but the caveats matter. Canvas apps support offline scenarios through 2 functions: caches data to device storage and reads from that cache when the device is offline. When a worker enters a dead zone on the warehouse floor, the app reads from local cache. When connectivity returns, a Power Automate flow pushes the queued changes back to the server. This approach works well for read-heavy tasks, viewing a pick list, checking stock levels, or confirming a product location. It gets more complex for simultaneous write operations, where 2 workers might update the same record while offline. For those cases, a conflict resolution strategy needs to be built into the data model before you adopt an offline-first architecture. Next up, Power Apps versus custom warehouse software, an honest comparison. For SMBs running fewer than 50 warehouse workers with standard receipt, count, and inspection workflows, a Power Apps warehouse solution is the practical choice. You get roughly 80% of the capability of a custom system at about 20% of the cost and time. The cases where custom software wins: high transaction volumes, complex multi-site WMS logic, or regulatory environments where platform update cycles create compliance risk. If you are not sure which side of the line your operation falls on, the low-code versus bespoke software cost breakdown is useful for making the case to finance stakeholders. Microsoft's Power Apps pricing page lists current per-user plan costs. Check it before building a budget, as licensing structures have changed several times in recent years. Now, how long does a Power Apps warehouse project actually take? The title of this post promises weeks, not months. Here is what that looks like in practice. A single-process Power Apps warehouse app built on an existing Microsoft 365 tenant can go live in 2 to 3 weeks. The prerequisite is a clearly defined current process and a maker who can build without interruption. One paper form replaced with one mobile app, 2 to 3 weeks. A multi-app warehouse digitization project covering 3 to 5 processes with Power Automate integrations typically runs 6 to 12 weeks. The bottleneck is almost never the technical build. It is the decisions, where data lives, who owns which field, how exceptions escalate. Next up, conclusion. Power Apps warehouse automation gives SMBs a realistic path from paper to mobile without a multi-year software project. The integration with Microsoft 365 is genuine, the build timelines are achievable, and the cost difference compared to custom software is large enough to matter for businesses operating at SMB scale. The companies that get the most value from Power Apps warehouse implementations start small. They pick the single process that costs the most time each week, build a replacement, measure the outcome, and then expand. If your warehouse still runs on clipboards, the starting point is simpler than it probably looks. Reach out to our team to walk through your specific workflow and figure out where to begin.